What if the secret to transforming education isn't sweeping reforms or dramatic changes, the consistent celebration of small victories? Stay tuned for today's episode where we are going to investigate the power of progress. Welcome to the Teach-Lead-Innovate podcast, where we dive deep into the heart of innovation, leadership, and transformative ideas shaping the future of education and technology. Each episode is a journey into the minds of visionary educators, thinkers, and leaders who are not just talking about change, they're living it. Real people leading real change. This is where passion meets practice and ideas come to life. Welcome to the Teach-Lead-Innovate podcast. Welcome to Teach-Lead-Innovate, everybody. It's Monday, Motivation Monday, and today we're exploring the power of progress. Whether you're an educator striving to help your students grow or a leader managing an amazing team, understanding the science and stories behind small wins can transform the way you work. So we're diving into some real-world examples backed by research that prove the importance of incremental achievements in driving big outcomes. So let's get started. All right, so the idea of small wins has been studied extensively in psychology and organizational behavior. Amabile and Kramer coined the progress principle, which highlights that incremental progress toward meaningful goals significantly boosts motivation and creativity. But how does this apply to education? In school, small wins can take many forms. It can be a struggling student improving their attendance, a teacher adopting a new instructional strategy. It could be a school leader implementing the first step of a long-term initiative. And one well-documented example comes from Chicago Public Schools' Freshman OnTrack initiative. According to Allensworth and Easton, by tracking student attendance, grades, and course performance during freshman year and addressing issues early, schools increased graduation rates substantially. This wasn't about overnight success, everyone. It was about building momentum through targeted interventions. So let's take a closer look at some inspiring stories where small wins led to transformative outcomes. So if we take a look back in the 1970s, we go to Finland. Finland began a quiet revolution in education. Instead of launching sweeping changes all at once, policymakers focused on steady incremental improvements. And these were some of those improvements, right? They focused on enhancing teacher training, reducing standardized testing. How about that, everybody? Reducing standardized testing and promoting collaborative learning environments. Over time, these small changes added up. By the 2000s, Finland was a global leader in education, achieving top rankings in international assessments like PISA. This success wasn't built overnight, but it was the result of decades of small wins. Also, if we take a look at formative assessment in classrooms, Black and Williams' research on formative assessment shows how breaking down learning into smaller objectives and providing regular feedback can significantly improve student performance. In one study, classrooms that implemented these practices saw better engagement and higher test scores compared to those that relied solely on summative assessments. And in a pretty famous example, Jeffrey Canada's Harlem Children's Zone tackled systemic issues in education by creating wraparound support services for students and families. Small, consistent efforts, like providing after-school tutoring or ensuring students had access to healthy meals, led to significant improvements in academic performance and college attendance rates. So how can we apply these principles? How can you apply these principles in your own work? So here are 3 actionable strategies based on the successes that we've explored in this episode. Identify micro goals. Break larger objectives into smaller manageable tasks. For example, if you're looking to improve classroom participation, start by setting a goal to engage one student per class who typically stays quiet. We all have that one student who typically stays quiet in every class. We may have more than one student, so let's get started. Track and celebrate progress. Take a page from Chicago's Freshman OnTrack initiative. Use data to monitor incremental progress. Celebrate milestones, no matter how small. For example, recognize when a student submits homework consistently for a week. Every win is a win, so let's count them. And provide frequent feedback. Remember, we talked about this last week, the importance of feedback, clear feedback, clear and real feedback. Adopt formative assessment strategies like those highlighted by Black and William. Give students actionable feedback that focuses on their improvement, not just their performance. For leaders, this means offering constructive feedback to your team members while acknowledging their efforts. So in today's fast-paced world, it is very easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenges in education, right? We all know this. But these examples show that small, consistent efforts can lead to transformational outcomes. Think about Finland. Think about Chicago. Think about the classrooms that shifted their approach with formative assessments. The thread tying these successes together is the power of progress. As we begin this week, let's focus on progress, not perfection. Remember, every small win matters. It's how the big wins are built. Okay? Don't forget that. Remember, every small win matters. It's how the big wins are built. All right, everybody. So thank you again for joining me today on Teach-Lead-Innovate. If this episode inspired you, I'd love to hear about your small wins. Share your stories with me on social media, on Instagram at The Cycling Superintendent, or please feel free to send me an email. Everybody, let's celebrate progress together. Let's have a fantastic week. I can't wait to see you guys again tomorrow. And until then, stay inspired, stay positive, and have the best day ever.